we have somebody else who has just joined. Okay, so I was saying today's session will be to give examples of poems about theme and tone. Now, of course, you may say, again, as I said, all the time, really, poetry always, writings in general. There are, of course, always ideas and themes and things that writers talk about, of course. And I'm not saying that this is the only poem or the poems I'm giving you here today have themes, whereas others no. Well, absolutely not, because in every single poem, even the shortest, the smallest and shortest poem really should have a theme that is a little thing to talk about. And I think this is true. So I'm not saying, that writers in this way here, of course, they write about, could be, as I say, the topic, huge topic or small or whatever. But of course, there's always something that they talk about. And this is really the idea here. So I'm not saying, again, I repeat, that, as I said, some poems really highlight the idea more than, of course, other poems or other poets do in some other examples. So again, tone, the idea of tone, here to see how poets sometimes, show the tone clearly or elaborate the tone clearly in the poem. That is to express the sadness or happiness or whatever in a very clear way. So again, I say all poetry, most poems really have tones, and you can tell from the poem whether it's sad or happy from the topic, from the speaker, and so on. So yes, this idea again is applicable. I mean, tone in the same way like theme, they are applicable to all kinds of poems that wherever you find or read. But here I'm only giving, just an example. Now today I told you to read. I think I said I'm going to give you one example by Edgar Allan Poe, and I think Edgar Allan Poe's example is really a huge one in terms of tone and also theme. And I think the poem, I don't know, some of you said they have done this in the Lang, which is Annabel Lee. Have you? Boys, girls, have you done this poem before? Sultan, Sultan Anas. Hello, boys.
Hello, Doctor.
Have you done this poem before?
I can't really remember.
You can't remember. Anybody remembers that this poem have been done before?
I don't think so that we have done it before.
Yeah, well, because somebody last time, I think, I last year or last term, when I gave this poem, people said we got this in the Lang. Anyway, some of you may not, so that's why I read it for you today. Really, it's a hugely, I think to me, is a nice, absolutely lovely poem. And if I share with you the screen, you can just have a look at it, and then I'll switch back because I don't want to lose connection. As you can see here, page by Edgar Allan Poe, which is the first example I gave here, page 41 in my notes. Okay, page 41. It's called Annabel Lee. Really, this poem is very sad about the death of his beloved called Annabel Lee. And really, this poem here, you can see, I think it's a very good example for both the tone, which is very sad, absolutely sad, and at the same time, maybe the poet or the speaker is angry because they killed his beloved. And at the same time, the theme, of course, the theme of loss, the theme really of loss and, you know, really death and bereavement and so on. So that's why you can see that this idea is really very prominent throughout Edgar Allan Poe's poetry. Really, when we shall see, and maybe this is the first poem by Edgar Allan Poe, really Edgar Allan Poe is a very famous American 19th century, early 19th century American poet who, in fact, who was very famous mainly for his short stories. In fact, many critics think of him as really the father of modern American short story, or even some of them, they say even the short story in the English language, really. He's an amazing writer in every perspective. I think he's a great man in every sense. Myself, I think so. Now, the main thing about Edgar Allan Poe is his really crazy element about sensitivity. His characters are extremely weird, strange, sensitive, to some extent, really mad. Because some of you, maybe last year I gave one to my students who were with me in Literature 1. I think I remember one of them here, or two, three of them here with you now. I gave them one example, a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, which is really, I think, very clear example of this extreme sensitive, crazy horror, you know, gothic, you know, really terrifying fiction. Even some of them like science fiction to some extent. So, as I said, he was really very famous for that. His fiction and poetry is full of dreamlike situation, and he was very skillful in doing this. And as I said, this question of weird characters and extreme sensitive characters, and this sense of, you know, weirdness and strangeness, I think is very clear everywhere in his poetry. I mean, the examples here I gave you, Annabel Lee, and the poem after that called The Raven. The Raven, Al-Ghurab. It's the same, they have the same crazy, you know, sad, you know, weird kind of atmosphere. And the tone is, as I said, is very melancholic and very sad in every sense. So that's why many people think of him as the father of what we call modern, you know, detective story. You know, as for example, many people even thought that he was writing, or he was one of the forerunners of what's called art for art's sake, which was very prominent during the early, or maybe during the whole of the 19th century, when writers were saying art is art, you know, art is written because it's art, you know. And I think this is, you know, a very important question here that we have to think about. Again, you know, I was saying about this horror and mysterious and really amazing thing. I don't know, did I lose connection? No, I'm still okay. Yeah. The idea really here, again, you can see the point, I think, here when I say the mysterious, the dreamlike, as I said, even the horror and the terrifying, and even what's called the macabre. really the word here is strange. The macabre forces means absolutely supernatural forces, which are unbelievable and sometimes really could not be even acceptable in his ways of really doing, sometimes really very rational or even very irrational kind of way. So this is, I'm talking here about the thematic elements about all of his poetry. Now, Annabel Lee is about a girl called Annabel Lee, and she was his love. And you know, this girl was taken from him by her family, and she was imprisoned and died in her prison. And he's writing for her. It's very, very sad story. And he's saying, you know, they took her away from me. And he's very, very sad when he wrote this poem. Listen to this. Annabel Lee. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. Now notice the rhyme here. Notice the rhyme is lovely here. Go, ago, and you know, no. See, Lee. Again, you know, again, when he went to say thought and me. You can see here irregularity with thought, you know, as if to say thought rhymes with no. Well, it does not. But the last line, me, rhymes with A, B, C, B, you know? So A, B, C, B, really, because thought does not rhyme with no. You know, it's a different word. Because in the next line, the same thing, you can see, again here, there's no rhyme. The rhyme really changed again in a very funny way, because you can see the rhyme child and love, no. Whereas see, Lee, me, you know, I'm looking at the second stanza. She was a child and I was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. You know, if you want to look at the rhyme again, see, Lee, me. Whereas child, love, and heaven don't. Now, some people really, to be honest with you, some people read this as one line. And they say, well, doctor, these are not two lines. It's like in Arabic, if I change the you know, they say this is one line, as if to say each stanza is only 3 lines, not 6. Do you understand?
Yes, like Arab verses.
Exactly.
Arabic poem verses.
Exactly. It's like the division in Arabic. But you see, it's all like this in all books, in all you know, editions. This poem, it's written like this. Actually, I can check it here again to see, because I don't know if I have Edgar Allan Poe here. Yes, I have. Let me see if I have the poem. Yes, it's here, page 600. I'm just double checking by chance. I have the book. I have a volume of in front of me. 643. 643. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same way. It's not written in one line. It's in the same way as I sent it to you here in my booklet. But I think, and I really think I must correct this and say, I don't know. I think Edgar Allan Poe meant it to be in the Arabic fashion. Because it's always the same. You can see me, Lee, see, Lee, me, the same, all the poem. I think he meant it like that. Maybe next time I will change the format of this. Unlike all the editions in every book, I think I can do that, no problem. I mean, it could be a funny thing to do, but I think it's interesting to think about it in this way. But anyway, this is the poem here. I'm looking at the idea, the theme, and the tone. Look at the tone here again. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. She was a child and I was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels no half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, and all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing my dreams. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. Huh? Sultan.
Exactly, doctor. He was crying probably.
Yes, man. You think I acted the scene correctly? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The way, I mean, it's not funny really, but that's the idea here. The poem is quite sad, and the poem, as I say, you know, and I think it shows this. The poet here is nearly crying, and he's saying, they took her away from me. This is the only, you know, he's saying everybody is envying her and me. And that's why I noticed the way he said it was many and many a year ago. You know, he's counting many years ago. I noticed he said it was many and many a year ago. Right? You know, he didn't say many years ago, as if to say, you know, countless, unbelievable years and years and years, you know. And he's I think exaggerating here when he uses the word many a year. You didn't say many years.
Doctor, I think the reason for that maybe because it was only 1 year, but because he loved her so much, he felt like each day was a year by itself. So it was too long, like many years, but it was only 1 year. He felt it to be too long.
Very good, yes, Ismail. Absolutely, I like that. Very good. You have done your homework. Very good, yes, Ismail. Yes, I like that. Yes, absolutely, yes. It's very good reading like this, yes. But you see, this is the idea, really. He wants to emphasize the power of losing this young lady here, his love. And he's saying, in a kingdom by the sea, as if he's telling us a story, you know, as if to say, Kan, ya makan, ya makan, right? There in this kingdom by the sea, next to the sea, there was a kingdom. That a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel. You know, a girl, a young lady who lived there, and she was called Annabel. Maybe you know her, maybe you have heard of her. She was called Annabel. And this maiden, he said, this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. This girl had nothing to do except to love me and me to love her. You know, this is the only thing we did. And this is the only thing she did, is only to think of me and love me. And in the same way, I think of her and love her. Now, notice, you know, the absolute romantic, lovely, you know, the tone, the thing, especially when we see after that, how they took her away from him and she died, and the miserable thing. Again, he's emphasizing, she was a child and I was a child. Look at the repetition here, really the repetition for emphasis. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love. You know, I think it's very clear. It means our love was exceptional. It was more than any other kind of love. I and my Annabel, you know, both together, her and me, her love and my love was unbelievably exceptional. Nobody loved like us. And he said, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. He said, even the angels in heaven, you know, these seraphs, like those tiny, like baby angels with wings, you know, it's called seraphs. He said, these angels in heaven, even those angels in heaven envied me and her. Coveted her and me, you know, envied, really. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, you know, that's why in this kingdom, you know, they took her away from me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel. You know, he was saying we were outside together, and one day, one night, very cold night, windy, chilly, cold night, you know, came and really, you know, she got cold because of that. A wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel. You know, this wind came and really made her very cold. So that high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me. So that's why her parents, her family, her clan, all her people came and they took her away from me, because we were outside near the sea and they kidnapped her or took her away from me. And also he said high-born means high family, because she comes from a high-class family. They took her away from me. And he said, bore her away, took her away, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. Sepulchre is like a tomb, really, like a basement, like a prison, you know, like an underground cell, you know, in a way. And, or, you know, it's like a cellar, if you like. Some of them really, you know, it's like, I'm saying, called like a tomb or like underground prison. And they kept her there, he said. They shut her up. They imprisoned her. And again, now he goes back to say why they did this. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. He's saying even the angels, he comes back to the idea of envying. Even the angels in heaven are not happy, are not as half happy, he said. You're not half happy as me. And of course, as her. We were so happy that even angels in heaven are not happy, as half happy as us. So that's why they were envying us. Went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason. As all men know. So that's why they took her away. And everybody knows this. Everyone knows this. They know this. They took her away from me because they envied me and her. That was the reason. That was the reason that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel. So even he's saying even nature is envying him, and that's why they killed, or nature it killed, because saying that's why the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing, you know, because she got, you know, she caught a very terrible cold, and when they imprisoned her in the cellar or in the prison, she died. So he's saying the wind killed her because envied her. You know, went, he said, yes, that was the reason. And he said, all the men in this kingdom by the sea, everybody knows this, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel. You know, everybody knows that by night when we are outside, you know, this wind came, and, you know, she became, or she caught cold, or, you know, in a very bad way, and then she was killed, if you like. She died as a result of coldness, if you like, or of some kind of pneumonia or disease as a result of this chilling, terrible cold. So he's saying even the wind, even nature killed Annabel Lee, because nature and the wind, he said, envied. Angels, everybody envied their love. Well, I don't know. So that's why, you know, he goes on, he said, but our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we. So he goes back to emphasize the strength, you know, of their love. He said, our love was stronger by far, means no one loved like us. By far means far, far, far more than anybody has ever loved. Of many far wiser than we, even older people who are maybe who were wiser and wiser than we, they could not love like us. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, لا الملائكة في كبد السماء ولا الشياطين في قعر البحر. الله أكبر. Come on, what is he saying? Neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons really devils, down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. Well, yeah, you can separate someone, but you can't separate their souls. And I think this is really very sad. Can never dissever. Notice here the rhyme, internal rhyme, can never dissever my soul from the soul. Again, notice the repetition. Soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. Means they can never separate our souls. They took her away from me and they killed her, but they could never take her away. Her soul, they could never separate her soul from me. He said, nor the angels in heaven, nor the devils in the bottom of the sea can ever do that. Nobody, no power can do that. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams. He said, every night when I look at the moon shining, I start dreaming of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. Even when I see the stars shining, every time the stars rise and they shine again, I always remember the bright and the shining eyes of my beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide. Again, here he looks at the sea, because the sea all the time, the tide and the ebb. You know, when you see water comes out and in and out, in and out. Really, this is, you know, when we say in the for the sea, it's called the tide and ebb. Tide and ebb. Al-mad wal-jazr. Al-mad wal-jazr. Tide and ebb. Really, here is what he said, the night tide, you know, because he's next to the sea. So he's saying he sits next to the sea, next to her grave, because there where they buried her. And so, oh, the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, and my life and my bride. Notice the repetition and really the emphasis and the sadness he wants to say, as if to say again in the same sense of really his crying. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. You know, the sounding sea. You know, very sad, isn't it? What do you think?
Yes.
I think it's a lovely, yeah, girls' reaction. Where is where is everybody? Who's I have here today? Oh, maybe Ala is absent today. The only one absent is Ala. Ammar, Anas, Hajar, Ismail, Layla, Nabi, Harim, Sultan. Yes, Ala is absent. Yeah, girls, any comments? Any comments about this? Well, no comments? No even writing in the chat? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's really a very strong, really example of what I said here about tone, which is the very sad, melancholic, really amazing, you know, poem, and even the theme of loss, and the theme of sadness, and the theme of death, really, the theme of bereavement, and the always, as I said, the constant bereavement and death. That again, the question here of exaggeration and sentimentality, and the sensitive, you know, the sensitive element associated with both the speaker and the young lady, because the young lady, because she was very sensitive, she died, you know, she died as a result of this cold and the chilling wind. So again, here we can see of this as an example of, as I say, extreme sensitivity. I think it's very mild example here. If we compare this to the other examples later on, we shall see maybe when we study Edgar Allan Poe, maybe more later on. Now, in the next example, if you don't have any question about this poem, I will move on to the next example, really. And again, here is the same thing about tone and about theme, is the example by Sir Philip Sidney. Sir Philip Sidney, Astrophil and Stella. Here, really, again, I give another example of that. Of course, as you can see, I give four examples of poems to illustrate this. And if I go to Philip Sidney's poem, which is about the early parts of this, page page 15. Okay, any ideas? Have you looked at this poem? Have you looked at Sidney? Hello? Hello, boys and girls, hello? Hello? Reem, Nabiha, Hajar, where are you? Are you still asleep or where? Reem, Hajar, Nabiha? Hello? Hello? Well, okay. So no comments, just say here. No comments, nothing. Okay. Right. Sidney, Sir Philip Sidney really is one of the early examples of Renaissance, early Renaissance Elizabethan English poetry. Sir Philip Sidney was a contemporary of William Shakespeare, and he was really one of the best examples of those really amazing early, as I said, in a sense, romantic poets in really very clear fashion. Sir Philip Sidney, as you can see, his name is Sir. He was given the title Sir, you know, as a royal title, because he was a major, you know, army person, you know, as a soldier again, really. And sadly enough, really, he was killed as a result of his really amazing, if you like, life, and as a result of his maybe you know, strange behavior later on. Of course, you can see this in details if you want to read about his life. You might find a lot of information about this. So Sidney really is, you know, has given us here, in, if you like, a very good example of a poem, a very long poem, really a very long poem, you know, very massive long poem called Astrophel and Stella. In fact, it could be like an epic, could be a small epic poem, you know, a very long poem. And here I took some of it. And really the name Astrophel and Stella, you know, is taken here, connection between, you know, the name of the character that he loved, and his name, Philip, you know, he took some of her name and some of his name, and that's why he said Astrophel. Astrophel, maybe from her name. Later on, we shall see this, you know, the really amazing combination. Really, in a way, it's written, of course, in many references, how he connected and how he created the name as a combination from her name and his name to really formulate this amazing poem. Again, you know, the whole poem is addressed to a woman, really. to a woman, Stella. And he, as I said, you know, elaborated and exaggerated a lot. And it was a very kind of, maybe an example of what we called later cavalier poetry, or something like cavalier poetry, or something like, you know, chivalrous or knighthood, because himself was a knight. You can see his given name, Sir, laqab Faris. In we say in Arabic, we say laqab Faris, we say Sir or knight, because the name knight or Sir really is a royal title, is given by people of the royal family. So Philip was an example of all this amazing combination of this in his poetry. As I said, this poem is purely imaginative, the way he wrote it. But in fact, many people thought that he took this poem, or if you like, he wrote this poem because you know, he was talking about his young lady, and in a real life there was a woman with a name, I don't know if it's the same name or not, but many people thought that she was given a name as Deborah Rich or something like that. And I think you know, I think in many examples you can see this here in the footnote later on the second page. I gave you this, and I will read it for you later. But really, the reference here, in a way, could be a reference to a real love to a married woman, because the story is like that, because they say he loved a married woman, and of course a married woman would not leave her husband for him. So that's why, you know, this poem to many ways seemed really unbelievably you know, powerful, and you know, could not be, if you like, fulfilled at the end of the day. So it was all sad and, if you like, miserable, writing for a woman whom he could never get. And you know, this is really the idea about the sense of loss in the same meaning, the sense of loss and the sense of sadness and the sense of eagerness and the sense of wanting to possess, and even the sense of really excessive, maybe moodiness, and to some extent could be obsession towards the woman he loves. You know, I write here in for you in the little introduction I wrote for you, you can see it there, Sir Philip Sidney as an English poet, courtier and soldier. He's remembered as one of the most prominent figures of the Elizabethan age. One of his major poems include Astrophel and Stella. He was also well known for his treatises in poetry. So I'm saying here again that Sidney also, remember, as you can see, he only lived, I mean, it's only about, you know, even 33 years old. I mean, he didn't live long, really, even 32 years of age. Died, you can see, born 54, died 86. So really, it's very sad. He died young, only 32 years old. And as I said, because of his really wild, maybe he was killed in a brawl, really, as we say, like in a fight or something, which is in a crazy sort of wild behavior to some extent. So he wrote something in defense of poetry. He wrote it in prose, and really it was a very strong evidence, really very strong evidence of criticism. Even looked back as the first example of criticism, really in British English criticism. and it's called The Defense of Poetry, as he called it, the defense of poesy. You know, originally this is how it was published, as we say, the defense of poesy, or the defense of poetry, or an apology for poetry. An apology for poetry, because he said, maybe he thought that, you know, many people misunderstood and misapplied, misused, abused poetry. So that's why he's apologizing for it. And that's why he said an apology, you know, funny, really, an apology to or for poetry. Again, another work called The Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia. Again, very amazing story called Arcadia here. And I think, again, notice here it's written for a woman, the Countess, you know, about a woman in an area called Arcadia. Anyway, the poem here, again, I must tell you as an example of a sonnet, because this is an example of a Shakespearean sonnet, English sonnet, the English sonnet. As we know, I told you the sonnet, 14 lines stanza, 14 lines stanza, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, this is the rhyme, A, B, 4. A, B, C, D, another 4. E, F, and then G. Really, it's an amazing, again, this is the format for what we call the English British sonnet, or the Shakespearean sonnet. Because if I say English, maybe because the Spenserian sonnet is a little bit different, a little bit because of the rhyme only. So Sidney was writing in the same way like Shakespeare, and I will show you that here today. So Astrophel and Stella, this poem here is an example of the sonnet form. And I say here, concentrates primarily on attitudes and states of mind, whereby the poem centers on a single experience. Astrophel's obsessive and rejected love. It is, again, I say here, a psychological poem. It psychologically reveals Sidney's hidden desires, regrets, and conflicts of conscience, which resulted from the social pressures and moral restraints of his time. In fact, many people thought, and many critics, I think, said that Sidney and many other men who lived at that time, especially those poets, really they said they were in love with the Queen, and the Queen never married any of them. And really, even including, some people say, including Shakespeare, but mostly Sidney and Spenser, really, Spenser and Sidney. And they said that, and they said that they were in love with Queen Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth I. The queen we have today, who is still alive and who is still the queen of Britain, is Elizabeth II, and she's in her 90s now. Queen Elizabeth I, it was during his time, and that's why it's called Elizabethan age. Elizabethan age, from Elizabeth I. And many, as I said, many people really, because remember, he was one part of the royal family. As I said, you can see courtier and soldier, and he was given the name Sir, the title Sir. So some people say this was written for Queen Elizabeth because he loved her, but she never really returned the love for him. As I said, even I will show you later, Spenser. In fact, Spenser wrote a very huge poem called The Fairy Queen. The Fairy Queen. And I will give you the example later. Again, Fairy Queen. Fairy here could mean very beautiful, or could be angel-like queen. Angel-like, because we say fairies like angels. like giraffes, like the character Edgar Allan Poe just mentioned. Yeah, you following, ladies and gentlemen? Following? Okay, boys?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Yeah, you know, I always want to know if you are still there, still alive or not. So I need to be told, because I don't see you, I don't hear you. So that's why I need to know. So I'm saying here, it's Sidney's own really, if you like, psychological problem here in this poem. I'm saying even though the reverberating theme of the poem is one of moral bleakness, it was nevertheless greatly admired and appreciated by the righteous and various or virtuous Elizabethans because of the conventions it adhered to, with its didactical elements and its complementing structural features. I'm saying that many people maybe thought that this poem is bad because it was written for a married woman, and which is not good, you know, to fall in love with a married woman and to try to attract her and allure her and tempt her from marriage. You know, this is bad, you know, socially, morally speaking, bad. But here, you know, people say maybe it was accepted because of its own conventional thing as a poem, because of its really, again, as I say, the didactical elements, means you learn from it a lot of things, turning not just ideas, themes, but also really structural features of poetry, as I say here, the sonnet. So here I'm saying the following stanzas are some typical stanzas of the poem. The first one is typical of six sonnets written in hexameter. So this is the difference here. Remember, we said in the iambic meter, remember, normally we said the Shakespearean sonnet is written in iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter, not hexa. Hexa means 6. So here, our friend gave us the example of hexameter. And I will show you in a minute. That. Sidney uses, again here I say, Sidney uses a variety of rhyme schemes which reflect again Sir Thomas Wyatt's influence. The structure of the individual sonnets amounts to an octave rhyming together A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, and then followed by a sustet, means 6, where the rhyme scheme is completed in the form, or in the first 4 as C, D, C, D, indicating an unexpected change in feeling and arrangement, or argument, I should say, in the final couplet like E, E. So you see here, I'm saying A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. I'm saying show, no, woe, flow. Look at it. The lines here, I'm looking. Show, no, woe, flow, A, and then pain, obtain, entertain, and brain. Again, so A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, correct? So this is 8 lines, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. This is what he said, octave. I said 4, notice, octave, which is 8, notice, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. And then sustet means 6. As you can see, I said the first 4, as I said, C, D, C, D, and then E, E. Notice what I say, stay blows, way throws, stay way. So this is again, stay blows, way throws. So this is it, C, D, C, D, correct? So A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, and then stay blows, way throws, C, D, C, D. And the last, spite, right, E, E, the last 2. So this is the special kind, what's called in imitation of Wyatt, because Sir Thomas Wyatt, and here I don't know, I have example for him for you. No, this is Raleigh. Where is Sir Thomas Wyatt? Come on, I thought I gave Wyatt here. Raleigh, no, I don't, yeah, well, no Wyatt, because, yeah, no Wyatt. Anyway, later on, maybe when we study more examples, I don't know if I have Sir Thomas Wyatt, but Sir Thomas Wyatt was earlier than Shakespeare and Sidney, and he wrote again in the same style of the sonnet. The sonnet. In fact, many people thought that's why I say Shakespeare developed his own, and that's why we called it Shakespeare sonnet. So this example here really is very clear, as you can see, and I will show you in a minute. Now, the couplet normally consists of a paradox reflecting Stella's influence on Astrophel, who on the one hand yearns for his love to be reciprocated, but on the other feels angered at her for not quenching his sexual thirst, feelings which consistently run throughout the whole poem. So I'm saying in the first 8 lines, he presents a problem, and then the last 6 lines, he tries to give a solution. So the first 8 lines, he poses the problem, who introduces the problem, and in the 6 lines, he tries to give the solution. And, you know, he goes on and on in this same way of structuring. So each sonnet, I say 14 lines. The first 8 lines rhyme together, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. The 6 lines, C, D, C, D, and then E, E. And I say thematically, the first 8 lines present the problem, and the last 6 lines, you know, you have the, if you like, the solution. And I will show you, for example, the first here. I gave you 3 examples only. And really, I will read them all for you because it's an amazing, really amazing poem. I love this. Loving in truth and fain in verse my love to show, that she, dear she, might take some pleasure of my pain. Pleasure might cause her read, reading might make her know, knowledge might pity win, and pity grace obtain. I thought fit words to quaint the blackest face of woe. Suddenly in ventures fine her wits to entertain, oft turning others' leaves to see if thence would flow some fresh and fruitful showers upon my sunburned brain. But words came halting forth, wanting invention's stay. Invention's nature's child fled, stop Dame Sidney's, studies blows, and others still seem but strangers in my way. Thus great with child to speak and helpless in my throes, biting my truant pain, beating myself for spite. Fool, said my muse to me, look in thy heart and write. Now, first I will look at the structure and then I will explain. Now, as you can see, the first 8 lines really, they give us the problem. The problem which is love, and the way when I explain it, I will show you. But let me look at as I said, the rhyme. I showed you the rhyme, show, no, you know, A, B, C, D, C, etc., etc. As I said, the first 8 lines, and I said that. Now, if I look at the scanning, if you want to scan this, Ya Sultan and Ya Ismail and everybody else, boys and girls, can you scan this for me? The first line.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. Say it.
For example, loving in truth and vain in
Wait
vain.
a minute.
Yes.
Each foot, because each foot 2 syllables. Each foot two syllables. So you have to stand and tell me where you stop. The first foot, where is it?
From the beginning, right?
Yes.
So loving, this is the first feet.
Yeah. So wait a minute. So we say loving, stress, unstress, or unstress, stress.
Unstress, stress. So
Yes.
loving.
Loving. Yes. Yeah. Loving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So loving in truth.
No, each two together, please. Each two together. Loving.
Okay. Loving in truth.
Very good.
And vain in verse.
Yes.
My love to show.
Very good. The next one.
That she, dear she, might take some pleasure. Might take
Yeah. Correct.
some
Absolutely.
pleasure of my pain.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Easy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Really loving in truth and fain in verse, my love to show. Unstress, 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 etc. So, as I said, dumda, 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 right? Or dadum, 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 you know? So really loving, unstressed, stress. In truth, unstressed, stress. And fain, unstressed, stress. In verse, my love to show that she, dear she, might take some pleasure of, my pain. Pleasure, notice here, pleasure, isn't it? Pleasure too. Might cause her read, might make her know. Clear. 6. Iambic, isn't it? Iambic hexameter. Iambic hexameter. So here I did the first 3 lines. Pleasure, might cause her read, reading, might make her know. Knowledge, might pay, t win, and pay, t grace, obtain. You see? So really clear, isn't it? Girls, any comments, girls? Because in the exam, I'm going to ask you to scan 1 line. In the exam, which is next week.
Mister,
Yeah?
can you repeat it, please?
Okay. I'm saying here, I'm scanning. Let me, I don't know if I don't know if, do we have whiteboard here? Let me see if I can use it. Choose, start a new whiteboard. Let me see. What's this? Now let me, maybe I should I'm trying to use the I'm trying to find how to draw. Where is the pen? It's can you tell me? I was trying really to find. Anyway, this is terrible. See, next time I will. I'm looking for this tool of drawing. I will do this drawing for you next time. I will learn it. Really, I'm trying to find a way to be able to draw for you immediately and to show you. I will try this next time, but I will repeat what I said, you know, in voice. I say, really here, I go back to sharing. I will share with you, and I will just just right. You see the page. So here I'm saying, notice here, loving in truth. So unstressed stress. You know, I wanted to really draw that, and I couldn't. I don't know. This is really. Or maybe this one. No. No. Anyway. So I say loving, unstressed stress. In truth, unstressed stress. And feign, unstressed stress. Inverse, as you can see, we said it's syllables. I say loving, two, in truth, two, one, in truth, and feign, inverse, my love, to show, you know, here, you know, syllables. As I said, English is a syllabic language, and this is how we say it, loving in truth and feign in verse, my love to show. that she, the same, that she, dear she. You know, here you may think dear too. No, dear, dear she might take some pleasure of, some you know, again to pleasure of my pain. So unstressed, stress, 6, loving 1, in truth 2, and faint 3, in verse 4, my love 5, to show 6. So that she 1, dear she 2, might take 3, some 4, giraffe 5, 6, hexa 6, hexameter, iambic, hexameter, iambic, because unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress. And the last line, the line 3, the same, pleasure, the same, pleasure, notice, pleasure might cause her reading might make her know. Again, 6, again, the same way, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, and so on, in the same way. Okay, next time I will draw it for you with the pencil here, with my I will find the tool of drawing, and I will open a special page for this to show you this. Okay, I have not done it before, but that's why I don't want to waste time now looking for it. Anyway, I will continue this next time, and I will show you that. I'll continue explaining this next time. Now, any question, anything?